My name is Mike Taylor. I'm a father. I'm a power lifter. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a lot of things. But one of the main things I am, and have been pretty much my whole life, is a person stricken with panic disorder and agoraphobia. Now, I'd like to explain this to people that are blessed not to have this disorder, this disease. Let's break it down in two parts real fast. Panic attacks, panic disorder, is when you could be watching TV, doing something enjoyable, and feel like your life is in immediate danger. It's called a fight or flight response. But it's more than that. You feel every sensation in your body. You feel your heart race. You feel your brain race with catastrophic, unprofound thoughts that you can't shake. And I know, as well as a lot of people do, the last thing we want to hear is it's all in your head. Try to think of something else. I could come up with a million things that people have told me that have probably just making it worse. And I've never faulted these people for telling me what they thought I needed to hear. Because unless you've had a panic attack, you don't know the hell that we're facing. We feel that we're taking our last breath. It's not psychological. It's physical. It's psychological in a physical sense. We don't know what's going on. I've had countless amounts of panic attacks in my life, and every single one seems to be different. Of course, I take medication. I've done the therapy thing. For me, I've had not good results with therapy. Therapists seem to always want to go way back in your life and try to blame it on something. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that's right. But my problem lies in the present. And there's not much somebody could say to me. The only way to cope with this disease is to live it. Find your own ways of making yourself feel better. And we all know that there's different techniques for different scenarios. What might work for one panic attack might not necessarily work for the next panic attack, because they are all different. But I have found one universal law when it comes to panic attacks and agoraphobia. That law is to never give up. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how scared you get, when you get that feeling when you walk from a different room to a different room, that you're trying to escape, but you can't escape something that is within you. It's impossible. Trust me, I've tried. I've put headphones on to try to escape through music. I've worked out to try to escape through adrenaline release. I've tried to escape by letting it flow, work its way through a system. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody by telling you guys that this doesn't work. It works sometimes and it doesn't work sometimes. We all know this. But the key that always works is to never give up. Each time you make it through a panic attack, we all get that overwhelming sense of serenity when it's over, because we're pretty much guaranteed we're not going to have one for a little while, because our bodies used up all the endorphins, testosterone, cortisone, all the chemicals that are released during a panic attack. Whether it's a 20-minute panic attack or an all-day panic attack, the key is just to not give up. There's hope. I found out a long time ago, and even more just recently, how alone I'm not. I know in my life how far I've came. There was a point in my life where I couldn't even look outside for a year. A year of my life was gone. I'm talking blankets up on the windows. Couldn't even watch the news. Anything that had to do with outside, I just couldn't do it. And that brings us to agoraphobia. What is agoraphobia to the outside person? At first I thought it was just a weakness that people saw in me. I hid it as well as I could, and I still do. I get out, I do things. I have a handful of friends, and even some of those friends don't know my problems. I don't know if it's because I'm ashamed to admit it, because I feel somewhere in me that it might be a weakness. But I know in my heart of hearts that it's not a weakness, it's an affliction. Agoraphobia, Latin for fear of the marketplace, which is very fitting because I know a lot of people listening to this, and myself, the marketplace, Walmart in particular. Special shout out to Walmart for making our lives a living hell, right? How many times have you made that accomplishment where you went to the grocery store and you got what you needed, then boom, panic attack hits, cold flash, sensation from your head to your toes. You got a cart full of food that you have to leave in that grocery store. It's painful. It's the biggest feeling of defeat I think a person can face, because it's an everyday routine to so many people. And to us, it's you know, we get so hyped up about it. I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'm going to get this. I'm going to go to this place. I'm going to do this. And when we fail, and I use that term very lightly, but when we don't make it, that pain lasts for days, weeks, months. I came to a point to where when I have to come home from a place, whether it be the grocery store, a trip, exposure therapy, if I have to come home because of a panic attack, before that night is over, I leave again and I go somewhere, whether it's just up to the store 2 minutes away, just so I could have the last laugh at panic and agoraphobia. That might make sense to some of you, it might not make sense to some of you. I don't know how the way I feel, the similarities to the way you feel. But that's the purpose of me making this, is so I can tell you how I feel. And let you know that you're not alone. Now when you're struggling with agoraphobia, that's a gateway to depression, it's a gateway to suicide. And that's just not fair. What did we do? How did this happen? It's something that we've all asked ourselves millions of times, and we'll never have an answer. Let's be realistic. We'll never have an answer. We're not going to walk into the doctor's office one day and the doctor's going to jump up and say, hey, I figured it out. I figured out why this is happening to you. That's not going to happen. It goes back to my universal law of never giving up. And if we don't have that universal law of never giving up, what is it we do have? We have to enjoy the little things. We have to be proud of the little accomplishments. You know, again, I use little very freely because going to the store to get some milk, get some groceries, it's a little thing to the majority of the population. But people like us that have been stricken with panic, agoraphobia, depression, going to the store and coming back is like winning a marathon. It's like discovering a planet, curing a disease. Nobody understands how big of an accomplishment that really is, but you. But you. You know what it took to get there. All the battles you had to fight just to decide to go. You got the realization, hey, I need milk. In order to get milk, I got to go to the store. Well, what if I have a panic attack? Or What if my agoraphobia doesn't let me? Or what if I get there and then at the store I have a panic attack? Okay, I got the milk, I'm gonna head home. What if I have a panic attack? If you notice, there's a key element there. It's what if. What if? We are a product of our thoughts. This is a fact. If I think I'm gonna have a bad day, I'm gonna have a bad day. And if I think I have a good day, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna have a good day. But it's sure telling me I'm not setting myself up for a bad day. I'm not coming in with negative thoughts. I'm not coming in with a handful of what ifs. I'm coming in with an open mind and an open heart. And with a never giving up, pushing forward attitude. Panic is a cycle. We know this. What's the first thing you think of? What are you thinking of right now? If you're not already having a panic attack, you're thinking about having one. And that's okay. That's okay. You're allowed that feeling. Because you can't deny yourself what you feel. Not only is it pointless, it's impossible. You have to wake up every day, have the best psychological, mental outlook you can on that day, and then roll with the punches. Living our life, living in our world, that's just the way it has to be. And it's unfortunate. It is. I hear stories all the time about people that have broken free of panic and anxiety disorder. And I, for one, have made a lot of accomplishments in my life. I'm nowhere close to where I want to be. I don't think I ever will be. I think so many years have gone by of living with this disease that I've set expectations that might not be feasible. I might not be able to ever live up to those expectations that I set for myself. I may not accomplish the dreams, the goals that I've had 20 years ago. But within the 20 years, I've set new accomplishments. I've set new goals. And if your goal is to go to a grocery store and walk around and leave, that is beautiful. That's beautiful. Because there's no difference between your goal and somebody's goal of living the dream of winning an Olympic medal. There's no difference. That person that wants to win an Olympic medal, they have to train. They have to mentally prepare themselves, physically prepare themselves to accomplish that feat, and so do we. And I'm gonna go as far as say it's harder for us. I think we feel more pain than they do. We have more on the line than they do. If they don't win a medal, what do they really lose? If we don't make it around that grocery store, you know what we lose. And we have to live with that every day. Universal law, never give up. And as crazy as it might sound, I've always looked at anxiety as a blessing. Because you can't dwell on the negative parts all the time. It's not going to get you anywhere. I look at my anxiety as a heightened sense of consciousness. I notice things people don't notice. So do you. I'm very, very aware of my surroundings at all times. And so are you. Very aware of what's going on with my body, the way I feel. And so are you. My point here is you're not alone. I'm not alone. We don't get the recognition we deserve. We don't get the attention we deserve. And I'll tell you one thing that kind of makes me upset, and I hope I don't offend anybody by this, but Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, why do they get so much special treatment? They put themselves in the position. We didn't. And I think what it really boils down to is we're so afraid, for whatever reason, let it be foolish pride, we're afraid to stand up and tell people how we feel. We're afraid to tell our friends. We're afraid to tell people exactly what's going on with us. I'm scared for no reason. I have irrational fears for no reason. Well, in my opinion, that's insane. Because we didn't put those there. We didn't consciously say, I can't go to the grocery store, I can't go to an outing, I can't go on a vacation. We didn't make that decision. That decision made us. And all that we have to do, the only choice we have, is to take the circumstances that we're dealt and decide what to do with it. If you're gonna fall forward. Don't fall backwards. If you're gonna go out and you get hit with a huge panic attack, one of those earth-shattering, this is different, I'm gonna die panic attacks. When that panic attack's over, laugh. Just laugh. Because crying is just gonna add to the fear. I'm not saying it's bad to cry. Everybody needs to cry. But fall forward when you fall. It's not fair that we've been stricken with this. It's not fair that we have to live like this. And I don't want to be cliche and say there is help out there. But that's truth. There is help out there. There are ways of improving your life. And I think the number one, absolute, without a doubt, is knowing that you're not alone in the way you feel. Because in the midst of a panic attack, when you're living with agoraphobia, you feel like there's no way anybody else could possibly be feeling the way you feel. But they are. Millions of people around the world. I've heard stories of people that haven't left the house in 20 years. That avoid everyday situations because of the panic disorder. I'm one of those people. I avoid a lot of things. I've robbed myself of a lot of things because of panic disorder and agoraphobia. But I've also given back to myself a lot. When you deal with something for so long, it becomes so familiar. Even though you still fear that panic attack, the agoraphobia, you come to a point in your life, at some point I think all of us do, where we come at peace with worst case scenario. Whatever your worst case scenario may be, you come at peace with that. And you wake up and you say, hell with it. I'm going. And what happens, happens. And I notice for myself, 9 times out of 10, when I do that, I have a positive outcome. I achieve it. And I also know for a fact, if I tell myself I can't do something, I can't do it. There's no way. I've defeated myself before I've even tried. And so have you. Anybody listening to this right now, anybody that's still with me, knows exactly what I'm saying. Hell, you may even think I'm talking about you. And I am. Because we are the same. You might be better off than me. You might be worse off than me. But we're all in the same situation. We all deal with panic attack and agoraphobia. And I, like you, watched a lot of videos of people talking about panic attacks, agoraphobia. And some are good, some are bad. Yeah, I related to some, not so much to others. But I've never really heard somebody come out and just be 100% brutally honest like I'm trying to be right now. I'm not telling you there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm not telling you there's not. I'm telling you the place you're in right now, the particular place in the tunnel you're in right now, you can make that path easier. Universal law. Never giving up. Falling forward. Inch by inch, day by day, minute by minute, second by second, if that's what you have to do. And know, please, if you get anything from this message, know that you're not alone. Yeah. That when you have the panic attack, if you get dizzy, and you feel like you're gonna fall, that's happened to me. If parts of your body go numb, if your chest hurts, if you get headaches, if you get nauseous, if you get sleepy, you name it, it happens. It's not just you. It's not just you. There's nothing wrong with you at all. You have panic attack and agoraphobia. That's why I can't stress enough that how important it is for you to know that I'm like you. For you to know that there's so many other people that are just like you. That what you suffer, you don't suffer alone. And you don't suffer in vain. Because every day you learn a lesson. Whether you have a good day, a great day, a bad day, a terrible day, you learn something that day. You learn something about yourself, your strength. You know, some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life are people like us. And I know why. And so do you, because if you're like me, you dread mornings. You just dread them. Because you don't know what kind of day you're going to have. You could take all the positive thoughts in the world, you could put them together, and you can hope for the best. But it doesn't always work out that way. It wasn't meant to be. But the best piece of advice I could give to you, for what it's worth, never give up. Fall forward. If you feel you failed at something, try it again. Don't give up. Life's too precious to let it go. You're too important to let it go. You're not unusual. You're not strange. You don't have some kind of weird disease that is only inflicted upon you. The thing that gets me by sometimes too, when I'm in a grocery store, I look at people and it's almost like I could see the people that are going through what I'm going through. You know, the fidgety fingers, the recognizable traits of people like us. And I've approached people before, and I've been right. And we both just start laughing. Because it's so comforting to know that we're not alone. There are so many support groups out there. And for privacy reasons, I'm not going to mention any of them. But you could find them. There's so many people that are willing to share their stories. So many beautiful people that will tell you what they're going through. And that helps not only them, but it also helps you. Because you know that you're not the only one that went through it. You read their stories and you saw, wow, they had a day similar to mine. You know, it might have been a little better, it may have been a little worse, but it was similar. Don't ever give up on yourself. Do not ever feel like you're alone. You are not alone. Your life will get better.